I searched the web for pictures of natural split-case pale morning duds, aka PMDs, and they proved hard to find. I think the following series of pictures can show why that is. Starting with the picture of the pre-emergent nymph with dark wing pads and a swollen thorax, shown here, the nymph's shuck, aka case, splits and the adult fly emerges. In my experience, this process normally proceeds rather quickly with little pause to the end point of freed adult fly. And that's the reason it's difficult to find a split case PMD. They seemingly have to be trapped in the shuck, aka stillborn, to be preserved at that stage, long enough for us to find them. The web search indicates that a fly pattern after the natural would be tied on a small hook about size 16 to 20, typically built on a cinnamon-colored pheasant tail base design, with the colors showing through the split wing case ranging from yellow to orange. Here's a picture of my version of such a fly. Although the fly uses several unusual tying methods shown in the video, the base fly is a pheasant tail nymph with a yellow or orange colored wire over the wing case. As such, this method has widespread utility in that it can be applied to most mayfly nymph patterns to convert them to a split case design. Tying the wired-in PMD today, I'm using the Nano-Silk 30 denier copper-colored thread. I'm tying on a 2487 Tiemco hook, a size 18. I want to show you this key element of this fly, which is putting some thin weight on top of the hook in the area of the thorax. So I have this 010 lead, and I lay it parallel to each other, side by side, and cut it off so I can get a good start to the fly. I'm tying it somewhat back behind the eye, and then I'm folding it forward. And back again. This is a subtle amount of weight, but on these flies that I'm using in the tailwater, a lot of them don't like beads, so I like to have a little bit of weight to keep this fly dangling down. .010 on top of the hook. It does two things. For one, it keeps the gap of the hook open because I'm tying it on top, and also it provides inversion weighting, so this hook will ride upside down and won't foul up as much. So and the little piece of copper wire, fine copper wire, and it's an amber color to match with the pheasant tail base of this fly. Tie it to the rear, the whole length of the shank. And now I'm going to tie in the tail, which is composed of in this case it's beaver guard hairs. And I hand stack them to get some tips evened up. So I'm just pulling out guys and stacking them back about the same place till I get a series of them that I can tie in at equal length behind the shank. Pinch them in. Cut them off. I'm going to tie in two fibers of this. They get them from Europe. It's a very long pheasant tail, and it makes it easier to wrap the abdomen. These small flies are getting harder and harder for me to tie. I'm wearing +6 readers, +6 diopter readers to be able to see this bugger clearly. So I wrap the 2 fibers of pheasant tail forward, forming the abdomen. Okay, now I take the copper wire and I use just a different pitch, a different winding angle, if you will, to try and lock in the pheasant tail fibers so they don't break when the fish bite, hopefully when the fish bite anyway. Okay, cut off the wire. And now I'm going to go to the tying in a little bit of this fluorescent wire, fluorescent yellow, in the BR or brassy size. And this is going to be my split case. And so I'm tying it here, right on top. And then I bend it back to form a little kink at the end of the thing. So this is so it won't pull out when I pull it forward, because you have to do it with a little bit of force. Then I'm going to tie in a wing case, which is about 4 fibers of this very dark pheasant tail, because I want the wing case to look very dark, like on the natural. When they're about to hatch, the wing pads get very dark, and so this forward thorax area I tie with this dark pheasant tail to look like that, look like the natural, of course. All right. And now we're going to do a twisted dubbing with the Nano-Silk. It's so strong you can actually split the thread. Like this. And add in with it the ice stub, the pheasant tail colored ice stub, which has the attribute of being brown in transmitted light, but has a peacock light reflected look to it, as you can see. So you end up with an American style pheasant tail with the peacock at the thorax, but you also have the advantage of when we pluck out these little fibers to be legs, that they'll be translucent like the natural. So it's a nice look. It's a cool look. Okay. Okay. Now we wind her back up and then we spin it to make our twisted dubbing loop. Figure eight it in, but not too bulky. Tie it off. The eye, fold over the dark pheasant tail. The wing case. Pull it back out of the eye. And trim. Okay, Now we got to bring the wire to give it the split case look forward over the fibers of the pheasant tail. And I'm looking directly down on this thing, trying to get this thing lined up over the top. Pushing it back again out of the eye. And again, I bend it up, the wire right at the thread wraps. And I cut her a little long. To lock it in place. Alright, now I'm going to whip finish twice. And then I'm going to cut. You have to cut the Nano-Silk with a single edge razor, or else you end up with a tag end sticking out. Then I'm going to use a little folded Velcro that's been folded over, and I'm going to pluck out some of these legs from the dubbing of the thorax. And there you have it, the wired in PMD with the split case.